Praise the Lord, saints. How do we feel to be back in the house of God? Amen. Amen. My mind is made up and my heart is fixed. Amen. And I just love him. How many of y'all know that God can do what other men just can't simply do? God can fix a broken heart. Come on, talk to me. God can deal with the matters of the heart. Is that all right? Amen. I want to take your seats. I want to get right into this. As I was in the back, God changed my message, and so we're going to deal with that. What I want to talk to you all today, New Beginnings World, I want to say hi to you all. What I want to talk to y'all today about is love. And to be honest, Elder Thompson, I had a whole little situation going. I had my own little message, and God, when I went to the back, he said, I want you to look up something. And I'm a fan of Martin Luther King. Not as, most people love him as being a civil rights. I love his message. I love how he preaches. I love how he articulates his words. Amen. And so God had me go back to this, which is strange for me the first time I've done this, but he had me go back and really look at what Martin Luther King said. Amen. And I remember I had came back from Miami one time, me and my wife, and when I came back, God had gave me a message entitled, Loving God is Killing Me. How many of y'all remember that? Loving God is killing me. And what we found out is that when we want to do things that we feel are right or justified, or we want to act out or treat a person a certain way, the love of God is killing me because it's his love that restrains me. Are y'all with me? And when you know what the right thing is to do, but you don't feel as if doing right validates you, are y'all with me? Or that we don't need right at this moment, then it kills you to have to humble yourself in a situation where you feel like humility is not warranted and instead love. Are y'all with me? Has anybody ever done something? Oh, I feel this. Has anybody ever done something to you to where you're so mad and you have every right to be mad? And then God said, love them. Are y'all with me? And so we understand what's going on in society. We understand the situation. And when I went in the back, I said, God, give me something to say to your people. And he brought me back to some Martin Luther King quotes. And the first one that I stumbled on checked my heart. And it says, hate begets hate. Violence begets violence. Toughness begets a greater toughness. We must meet the forces of hate with the power of love. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I want to be mad. I want to be frustrated. I want to burn something down. I want to stand and fight. But Martin Luther King has been here before. He did it on a scale that, as a preacher, that I could only imagine. He's preached in front of 50, 60,000. And at a time where hate was at its worst, he chose to love. And I have to do the right thing, Pastor Jones. I have to love. Loving God is killing me today. Because I wish I could take off my salvation and speak my mind. But would it really be what God stands for? Would I really be able to come back to God and say, well, God, I got it off my chest, now I feel better? He gave me an example for me to follow. And his name is Dr. Martin Luther King. A fifth point concerning nonviolent resistance is that it avoids not only external physical violence, but also internal violence of spirit. The nonviolent resistor not only refuses to shoot his opponent, but he also refuses to hate him. What I realized what he was really saying in this is, when you let people make you start hating because they hate you, it corrupts your spirit. Are you with me? And therefore you have no ability to love. Even after the drama's over, hate doesn't have a preference. Hate doesn't have a color. Hate doesn't have a situation. Hate is a seed that is watered. And so I realized at a moment like this that he was fighting his own self to not be what the devil wanted him to be. So loving God today is killing me. Another quote he wrote is, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. He said, hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Hate multiplies hate. Violence multiplies violence. And toughness multiplies toughness in the descending spiral of destruction. The chain reaction of evil, hate begetting hate, wars producing more wars, must be broken, or we shall be plunged into the dark abyss of annihilation. And as I was back there, I was trying to wrap my mind around what Martin Luther King was really trying to say. And what I found out, Pastor Jay, is what he was saying is, love is greater than it all. Good beats evil every time. And so I have my own ways. But today I choose to do it God's way. It hurts. I'm frustrated. But I can't deny the truth. Let's go to Matthew, the 5th chapter. The 43rd to the 46th verse, Matthew, the 5th chapter. The 43rd to the 46th verse. If I could categorize this message, it would be Love is Killing Me, part 2. How many of y'all know there's going to be many parts of this? Because regardless of what's going on in society, we all have our own issues. We have our own situations that we're fighting in. There's a word in the church that says people, go around saying in the world that, I'm getting hated on. There's a difference between getting hated on and being hated. The word kill simply means to deprive of life. And what I understand, Evangelist Ransom, is that where love is, hate has to die. It has to be deprived of life. Kill also means to put to an end. It means to destroy the vital or essential quality, to cause to stop, to cause extreme pain, to tire almost to the point of collapse. Loving God is doing that to me. Kelly, loving God is depriving me of life because it won't let me do what I really want to do. At a time I feel that I should do it. I feel justified to do it. But God's love won't let me do it. God's love is putting an end to Bobby and the way I feel things should work and the way I feel things should happen and who should be justified and who should be condemned and who should be judged and who should be killed. Loving God is killing that in me. Angie, loving God is causing me extreme pain. 4 days I've been depressed. 4 days I've been angry. And I wanted to get up here and say something that would shock everyone. Tell people how I really feel. But there's no time for that. I'm not mad at people. I'm mad at the position people put me in. I'm not a color person. I see color. You're not going to never tell me I don't see color. I see color. But I have no problem with color. And there's times things happen to you and you want to put all that negative energy toward it. But do you have any love? We love to go around saying that we love each other. It's easy to say, I love you, I love you. But love is not defined by when everything is going right. It's easy to love people when they're not against you. It's easy to love people when they think the way you think and do what you want them to do. But love is a greater word than just a comfort word. See, when we're comfortable, Damon, we say, I love you too. When we're married with our couples and everything's going right, we don't mind saying, I love you too. But some of us realize that our spouses are not happy with us because when they leave the house this day, they don't say, I love you. Because they're mad at you. See, love is not that type of word that we just throw around. And so back there, I began to ask God, what is this love about? He said, love will keep you when you want to lose it. Love will restrain you when you want to hurt somebody. Love looks past the situation and it sees what you'll be after. Some people want to be violent, but after you're violent, there's a spirit that comes with violence. And it infiltrates the heart of the people. And after a while, you'll find yourself just being violent in random things, all because you opened yourself up to violence. Do I really want to open myself up again? Loving God is killing me. Matthew 5:43-46 says, ye have heard that it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. So I said it hurts when the word beats you up. But I say unto you, love your enemies. What I found out is okay to say you have an enemy. A person who is not on your side, a person that is ill will towards you, a person that wants to see you killed, they're your enemy. But God didn't say we get to fight fire with fire. He said, love them. God, why love people who want to kill me? Because when you allow hate in, you can't control it. When you allow bitterness to sink in, you can't control it. So it's not about paying people back. It's about protecting yourself. Love protects you from the hate that's in front of you. 44 says, but I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Bless them. And I've read this so many times. I've quoted it so many times, but today it just don't seem right today. It just don't feel right to say bless them that curse you today. Because I'm tired of being cursed. But I don't get to pick and choose what part of this book I want to live. I'm not afforded the opportunity to go in and say, well, I'm going to live that today. No, I'm not going to live that today. I got to live it whether I agree with it or not. Because when it's good, Dre, I agree with it. When there are no problems, bless them that curse you. But when I'm being cursed, it's hard to find the blessing. Loving God is killing me today. 45 says, no, I'm sorry, I got to finish. And pray for them that despitefully use you. Pray for them that despitefully use you. Not pray for them who use you, because you're going to get used by everybody. If you work for somebody, you're being used. Because they're not paying you what you're worth. They're paying you what they want to pay you. Anybody have a business? The business owner make the most money. Are y'all with me? So they're using you in a sense. They're using your labor. They're giving you some money. But he said the way they use you, despitefully. That means they don't have your interests in mind. They're not, they don't consider you in the plan. They're just using you. Despitefully meaning they'll use you up. Bless them. Bless them. And persecute you. Love is real. Angie, I'm just finding out what love is today. And I thought I've preached this and there's levels to this. Love hurts. It don't hurt meaning you've got your feelings hurt because you was in love with somebody. It's the restraint that God has put in your heart. And when people poke at you, you want to poke them back. But God said, once you become a poker, then you know better than them. Are y'all with me? So he said, can you make a difference between clean and unclean? Can somebody make a difference between love and hate? Love doesn't get a chance to say, I'm tired of loving. It's just love. (45) says that ye may be the children of your Father, which is in heaven. That means I can't be a child of God if I don't do it his way. So as angry as I am and as passionate as I am and as frustrated as I am and as vulnerable as I am, God is saying, if you go to the other side, you're not one of mine. I never understood why Martin not once went to the other side. Because he loved God more than being persecuted. He loved God more than being hated on or simply hated. He loved God more than his own life. God help my unbelief. And if you're not here today, God bless you, but I'm here today. 45 says that you may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. Pastor Smith, what are you saying? What I'm saying is God is concerned about the police too. That's hard for me to get right now, DeMario, but he's concerned. He's concerned about the man that had a knee on the man's neck. Because through it all, God still sees a soul. I can't see it right now, but I will. When you're tired of being a victim, you got to keep loving. When you're tired of being put down, you got to keep loving. Because if not, you turn into them. And as hard as that is to digest, it's right. I didn't want to preach this. This was not my message. But it is. It needs to be. 46 says, for if you love them which love you, what reward have ye? If I love the people who love me, you're not doing much. Because they love you, so they're treating you a certain way, and they're apologizing when they make mistakes, and they're concerned about their relationship with you. So you guys are both working in the same capacity. So love doesn't need to be great. Love doesn't need to abound. It doesn't need to cover the multitude of sin because you both love each other. And I think the hardest thing about it is if I really felt like you understood and that you were really with me, it'd be easier to love you. If I felt like you were sorry for what you did or that, you realized you made a mistake, I could love you. But that's not what it says. It says, for if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? What it's saying is that's how the world operates. You like me, I like you. You don't like me, I don't like you. You love me, I love you. You don't love me, I don't love you. That's not what love is. Love and like are two different things. And I think we find ourselves calling love like and like love. Because like is something you can like it today and not like it tomorrow. Like doesn't have a spiritual connection with it. Like don't fight battles. Like is preference, choice. I like this, I don't like this. Love comes with an inner spiritual connection that God stamps because he is love. So even in the midst of my complexity, I must still find love. I'm being rebuked preaching to you, but I accept it. Matthew the 6th, the 24th chapter. I'm sorry, Matthew the 6th chapter, the 24th verse. Are we learning? Matthew 6 and 24 says, no man can serve two masters. For either he will hate the one, come on, and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. I said, God, why would you tell me this? He said, because when you start hating, when you start taking revenge, love has to leave you. Therefore, you hate those that hate you, and you love those that love you. What makes you any different from the world? If you're going to hold on to love, you can't cheat with hate. It's either you love or you don't. Are we learning? Romans 8 and 35. And as I'm going through my emotions in the back, God is telling me, who will you serve? Who are you going to serve? I said, God, I want to serve you. He said, then how can you want to wrong someone because they wronged you? Because at the end, you still did wrong. You might have thought you were justified, but you were wrong. So in the spiritual court of divinity, you both lose. The action and the reaction. It seems that when we fight back, we get somewhere. But the truth of the matter, we don't. Martin Luther King helped us take the biggest step in the United States of America that we've ever taken. So many laws and so many things changed, but love got him there. And I have to remember that only love will really get you there. Romans 8 and 35. It's another stinger. Who? It's a person. Who shall separate you? Oh, I was feeling separation. Because in my heart, I started to hate that man. His picture was everywhere, and I couldn't believe someone would do that. But God is saying, who is going to separate you? Is this man going to separate you from my love? Pastor Smith, all the good things I've done through you, is he going to separate you? Who will separate you from the love of God? Shall tribulation. This is tribulation. But is it stronger than God's love? The same love that changed my life. The same love that changed my family's life. The same love that kept me when I didn't want to be kept. The same love even when I had my police experiences that God kept me. Is it going to separate? Or distress? I'm in distress. Because I'm tired of seeing people like me dying at the hands of the people who are supposed to protect and serve us. but will it separate me? And I feel something trying to separate me. I feel the pull. Every day I wake up, I hear something saying, man, you've had enough. What if that was your kid? What if that was your... This is in here for a reason. But it's not talking about natural separation. It's saying, what is it going to take for you to leave God? Well, persecution. I feel like I'm in all of this. Tribulation, distress, and persecution. And the crazy thing is not just persecution from this situation, then it becomes inner persecution. Then it becomes people talking about things they know nothing about, and you're reading all this stuff, and you're seeing people's opinions, people you work with, and people you know, and now you're building opinions about them. Come on. And what? It starts to pull you because, to be honest, all I could think about was what was going on in this world. Not new beginnings, not preaching today. I'm tired was my message. And I was going to tell you how tired I was. But the truth of the matter is, who am I? Martin Luther King has always been my hero. Not because of, per se, what he stood for, even though that was the biggest thing. It was that what he withstood. Are y'all with me? Not what he stood for. Don't get me wrong. What he stood for was amazing. But I was impressed by what he withstood. How he could look at somebody who hates him, calls them everything they can think of, knowing that they would kill him if they had the chance. And he says, I'm not violent. I can't be you. And now I'm looking at this thing different. I don't want to be them. But if I respond the way my heart wants to respond, I'll be just like them. Loving God is killing me. Are we learning? 1 John 3:18. I think God just pretty much told me, Pastor, I'm going to rebuke you openly and you're going to preach to the people about it. And that's fine. Y'all know I'm transparent. I'm growing too. Amen. 1 John 3:18, but I know somebody in here feels the way I feel. And if none of y'all know my wife feels the way I feel. It says, my little children. And when he puts little, what he's saying is, I'm way up here. You way down here. When you start putting big and little and young and old on people, what you're trying to say is, come on back down to who you are. He said, let us not love in word. Love is not a direction of who you give it to. When you're talking about godly love, you have two things. You have a carnal love, right? You love with somebody, you get married, right? It's a carnal thing, right? It's not per se a spiritual thing, even though God puts people together, but love is an action word. So the things that you do for people and all of that, right? And people say, well, if you don't do certain things, then you don't love me, right? The love God is talking about isn't for a specific person. It's for everybody. That's why when people talk about 1 Corinthians 13, they say love is kind. He didn't say love, he said charity. Why? Because when you look up the word charity, charity is not love for a person, it's love for mankind. So God was saying, I don't want you just to love people, I want you to love them because I created them, regardless of what they do. The same way when Saul was trying to kill David. And David was attacked by Saul. Remember, he threw the spear at him, and David wouldn't touch Saul. David was a known killer. David killed all the giants in the land. David had mighty men. But here it is, a man of God that was trying to kill David because he was jealous of him. And David said, God has his hand on you. I can't touch you. He had all the ability. But the love of God was greater than how he felt. Love is real. God began to tell me, Pastor Smith, look how many people you've loved and they've lied on you, talked about you, betrayed you, put your name in the dirt, but you kept loving them. Oh, was it only because they went to your church and you were their pastor? Because that's carnal love. I told you to bless them that curse you. Now you're getting cursed. Can you be a blessing? Let us not love in word, neither in tongue. Look at your neighbor, say talk is cheap. You find talking at 99 cents though, because everybody can do it. But living it gonna cost you. One of my biggest issues with church folks when I first started is like, oh, y'all talk. As soon as the wind blow, all y'all talking about where Jesus. And God said, Pastor Smith, you up here talking about how love lifted you when nothing else could help. But now that person needs love, and you have nothing to give. Either you're going to be like them or be separate. Choose. So we do things in deed, and we do them in truth. Does that mean Pastor Smith's not going to say anything or deal with this? No. But I'm going to do it in love. When you go to the table of compromise, you have to go in love. I've never been that person to go to the table of compromise with love. I go in and say, this is going to be done my way. I'm going to beat you up. That's not love. That's slavery. That's a slavery mentality. My way or no way. But God is saying, can your love change a heart of hate? Because if you love and you allow hate to make you respond in a hateful way, then hate is greater than love. And for some of you, you don't care because it doesn't directly affect you. But today I choose to love. Or should I say in the last 20 minutes, I choose to love. Because when I went in my office, there was no love there. But I had to make a decision, Dre, is this real or not? I know a lot of you don't know me outside of church. Kiana, I don't even know a lot of church people. Because I was in the streets. I didn't play with church. I had no idea. I had no desire. So I don't know all the history of church in Las Vegas. I don't know none of that. I can tell you about some gang stuff. I can tell you about some drug dealing. But I'm learning what love really is today. I'm learning kind of what Jesus felt like. Not to that extreme. But to have the people that you come from kill you. And all you did was help them. But he sat on that cross anyway. So that we could sit on our cross. And we can take something. And I'm not saying that we don't fight back, but it's how we fight. Am I fighting to do what you did to me, or am I fighting for change? I've always been a component of change, but I found myself not wanting change, just wanting to get even. Can we talk about it? And what I found out is a lot of us forget this situation. We go through these same things in our ordinary lives. Some of us are trying to get back at our spouses, not so that we can change. We're trying to get even. Some of us are dealing with our kids, not so they can change, so we can get even. Some of us are dealing with our brothers and sisters in the church, not so that we can change, so that we what? Can get even. I'm telling you about yourself. Why? Because I don't like you, not because I want to see you better. And what I found out is when you do that, people receive that. And if there's hate already in your heart and I throw some hate out there, all you're going to do is what? Materialize it and hate me more. I saw a young lady on CNN. I don't know who these people was dressed like ninjas. And they were spraying the walls. And a young black girl said, why are you doing that? They said, what do you mean? Black Lives Matter. She said, that's not how we're doing it. That's not how we're going to get our point across. And I looked at her, I said, this don't make no sense. I saw a picture of a policeman who had found himself in the crowd by himself. And there were black men shoulder to shoulder refusing the crowd to kill him. They were protecting him. And God said, you see how those things stood out? Because in the midst of all this hate, there's always love. This is not a systemic issue. It's a heart issue. We can't change a man's heart by trying to beat right into him. We got to show him the love of God. We have to show him the love of God. We have to show him that my love is greater than your hate. And every time you curse me, I'm going to bless you. And I'm going to love the hate out of you. Jesus loved the hate out of people. When he died, the soldier who was responsible for piercing him in the side, he said, this was truly the Son of God, but it cost me my life for you to realize it. Loving God is killing me. It cost me my rights for you to see that there's something bigger than this. So I stand down today. I can't be like everybody else. I love God too much. So I'm asking that God take my hate away. But I got to find a way to show people that we love them. Which just sounds so crazy. But it's so real. I look at children. When I was growing up, the older men, they trained us to fight. They'd make us fight. Even the black women in the projects. Come on, fight, fight. And yeah. We raised our kids for violence. And then when they become violent, we're surprised. Violence isn't the answer. Love is. And all we've been trying to do is show people that we just want to be equal. Black Lives Matter doesn't mean better. It just means we're human too. Violence has destroyed our community. But the same ones who are violent in our community are usually the same ones who are violent in the protests. Because violence is a disease. I know because I had it. Everything I solved was through violence. You step on my shoe, let's fight. You disrespect me, let's fight. You don't like me, let's fight. But it never solved anything. And for the first, and this is going to sound crazy, this is the first time I'm really realizing that. It never really solved anything. It just made me more violent. But love lifted me when nothing else could help. As violent and as angry as I was, when I found love, County, it changed my life. I didn't find love in a woman that changed my life. A woman's love can't change my life. I found God's love. God's love changed my life. It took the hate out of my heart. It took the pain. His love did that. So when I say in the big scheme of things, how do we make things better? Not tit for tat. Through love. How do we make things better in this church? Not tit for tat. Love. Pastor, they're getting on my nerves. And can we love them through it? And to be honest, this is a known hate. We're supposed to be brothers and sisters. Why do we feel that way toward one another? Why do we have deep bitterness? Why do we harp on things, one another? We don't hate each other. We're just learning to deal with our differences. Are you with me? We must first be a solid foundation of love before we go really try to fight hate. Because if we don't love in here, there's nowhere we're going to fight the hate out there. So we got work to do. We got to get to a point where we just understand people working through stuff. And I'm proud in some ways. I've never seen non-minorities stand up for what's right this many in my life. Our white brothers and sisters, Hispanic brothers and sisters, Asian brothers and sisters, they in arms together. The very thing that Martin Luther King said, he had a dream that we would come together for the same purpose. It's happening. And so I have to digress and pick up where he left off. He was a martyr for love. Jesus was a martyr for love. He was willing to die so that love could live. Am I willing to die so that love can live? If I told you, Elder Murray, that if it cost your life, the whole world would be better, would you die? Dre, if I told you that if you died, it would end racism, would you die? I would. I really would. Because I'm tired. Life is not as important to me as it is to y'all. Because I've seen so many people die at one time. I'm numb to it. I'm not afraid of it. And I believe this book wholeheartedly. But sometimes you just want to make people feel the way you feel. And that's selfish, it's not love. 1 John 4:20. We're almost done. It kills me how many people want to preach the gospel but don't want the gospel to preach to them. And there's nothing worse than preaching and having it preached to you while you're preaching. So people get to watch your deliverance. But I just think I'm glad that God loved me enough to deliver me. Because I didn't want to stay in the mindset that I was in. Amen. But I'm going to do this in love. But we're going to make a difference in love. But we're going to make a difference. 1 John 4:20 says, if a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he's a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love God, whom he hath not seen? We can't love God and hate people. Can't do it. Saints, there are people in this church who say they love God and don't love each other. And you know what's crazy? We're a loving church. Everyone who comes out here, oh, y'all so loving, but I know the truth. Okay. Preach to me. I know the truth. We love as long as everybody's good. I love you till you step on my shoes. And then I'm finna go and get in my little corner with my little hate group and talk about you. And your hate group could be small. Could just be your spouse or your kids. I'm going to tell y'all right now, stop talking mess in front of your kids. They come back and tell Pastor. Even the babies. And I don't say nothing. I just watch you. I can honestly say I love everyone in this church. the same. I don't like y'all all the time, but I love you. Because see, like is picking. Love, there's no choice. It's either you do or you don't. I can't say I love you, Tammy, but don't love Kelly. I just don't love at all. Because love isn't picking and choosing. It's either all or none. And I'm finally realizing that. We say we love food. You can't love food. You can like it. Love is spiritual. You don't put a spiritual thing on carnal things. But we desensitize the word so we can use it. I love God. So because I love him, I have to love. Because he is love. In closing, I have a couple more things from Dr. Martin Luther King. He said, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Facebook, whoever, all my friends, all the multicultural friends I have, if you love me, speak up for me. Tell the world it's wrong. That's all I ask. There's no such thing as racist, I'm not nothing, and then non-racist. You're either racist or you're not. If you say, I don't want to be involved in that, you might as well be a racist. And it's crazy because it's the same principle in God. We all Christians until that word hits you and you say, no, I'm not that part. God, pray for me on that part. It's either you are or you're not. We all got to work through something. I tell my wife all the time, if you love me, love me. Now you're gonna see the ugly side of me, you're gonna see the whatever, but if you really love me, we're gonna work through it. Because love covers the multitude of error. It never fails. Violence fails. Live by it, you die by it. But love never fails. So here's what I'm going to do. Trinice, I'm going to try something Pastor you never tried. I'm going to try to love these people. And I'm going to try to build a rapport with the police. Even the white ones. Being transparent today. If you don't like it, I don't care. I'm freeing myself. And I'm going to let them know I love them. Look, man, I'm not against you. Just don't be against me. And I think that if we do that, maybe we'll take another step. And I'm not saying it's going to change, but we can take a step. And Martin Luther King took too many steps for me to take a step back. If we do not learn to live together as friends, we will die apart as fools. And the last one I want to read is part of his last speech. I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountain. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain. I've looked over. And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you. But I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to that promised land. And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. Love was greater than hate with Martin Luther King. He changed the culture. He changed laws. He took a step. Dre, I'm gonna help change some laws. I'm gonna change a culture. We're gonna take a step. And I want to let Facebook world know I am going to do my first and I don't even want to call it a protest. I'll call it an assembly of concern. And I want the New Beginnings men to support me. And I want the men of God to support me. Men in the world, I'm not mad at you. You think the way the world thinks. But we're going to go suited and booted. Because I don't even want nobody to think I got my good shoes on. Ain't no fighting. But we have to be heard and loved. And we have to let people know that you hurt me. And I'm hurt. And I don't want to hurt you back. I just want you to stop hurting me. Amen. That is a message of love. I don't wish any ill will towards you. Just please give me a chance. I don't deserve it. We don't deserve it. The United States doesn't deserve this. And in the midst of a pandemic, we're still fighting the same fight. So today, I raise my hands. I give up. Bobby has left the building. But Pastor Smith has a new purpose. And my purpose is two things. I want to teach my community how to love each other, how to love one another. And when I say my community, I'm not talking color. I'm talking about people in my community, people who are around me. Because if you have no self-love, you can't love somebody else. And then I want to let people know that you can never love yourself until you love God, because how else would we know what love is? For God is love. With all these things going on, it's time to make a choice. What really matters? What really matters? I don't want to live in an all-black society. Too much anything is bad. I like diversity. Amen. I like to eat different foods. Amen. I don't want chillings and all that junk every day. Fried chicken. Well, I can do that. I can talk about what I come from. Amen. I like to have a little shrimp fried rice and a little Italian food and good old burgers. And I like because it takes all of us. We have a diversified church now. I love it. I want to help fulfill this man's dream because somebody gave him that dream. And I know God gave it to him because he never once said, we want to dominate. Black people taking over. He said, can we just come together? We have to change the culture. We can't change the United States. We ain't got enough of us. We can't change Nevada. Ain't enough of us. We can't change Las Vegas. Ain't enough of us. But we can change us. How about let's change the love temperature in this church first? How about let's change the temperature of love in your house first? From your house to God's house. From God's house to North Las Vegas. From North Las Vegas to Las Vegas. From Las Vegas to Nevada. From Nevada to the United States. From the United States to the world. It starts with us. So I ask all those that are hurting, and I'm not even going to say you're going to understand this today, but just listen. There's no greater love than this. than a man lay down his life for a friend. I'm laying down my life so that somebody else can live. Loving God is killing me. God bless y'all. Amen. So, we will get better. A prayer at a time, a day at a time, a choice at a time. But I want to leave you with this. When you hate your brothers and sisters, you can't say you hate police brutality, because you are a product of hate. And everything hate has to offer, you've already embraced. When you say you love, you don't get to pick and choose. Because God's love is about mankind and not a specific man or woman. Pastor, growing up, and I don't want to, but I need to. I feel if I be honest with y'all, then you can make peace with your thoughts. Amen. But I don't want another person to ask me why they're right, and you know why. I just choose to fight with love. And I'm just crazy enough to see if I can change my way of fighting and still win. So I will. Amen. Is that all right?